welcome to my video on how to make a visual scripted 2D platformer. Now I'm pretty new to visual scripting, but I've been doing scripting in Unity C# for a while now. So we are going to give this a shot, see how it goes. Okay, so first thing, I am going to be starting off with the old input system. So we want to make sure that that is activated. Let's go to Edit, Project Settings. Under the Player tab, we can scroll down until we find the Active Input Handling. I'm going to put both, and then if I select that and I close out, I've already applied this, but it's going to make you restart Unity, so that'll just take a moment. But I am here, I'm ready to go. So let's just go ahead and get started with some super basic setup. Let's create a 2D object. This is a sprite for our player. I like to use a capsule, but let's call that player. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and tag it as the player. I do want this to have some physics, so let's go ahead and add a rigid body 2D. It is going to be dynamic, and let's give it a capsule collider 2D. And if I did that correctly, the effect that I should see is that it will... Whoop, there it goes. All right. Now let's make sure that we have something to land on. So let's create a second 2D object sprite. Let's make this one a square. I'm going to call this the ground. And save myself some trouble later on, let's go ahead and tag it as ground. I'm going to add the tag ground. And if I go back here, I actually have to apply it. So let's go ahead and add the ground tag. I'm going to use the move tool to move this down below the player. We can scale it horizontally. I'm going to go ahead and add a box collider 2D. And a rigid body 2D. And for the rigid body 2D, I'm going to make sure that this is kinematic, and that's going to make it so physics don't apply to it. So I can still hit this and have it react to me, but it's going to get pushed down. Okay, so if that worked, I should fall and land on top of this platform. All right, so far so good. Let's go ahead and get into some player movement now. So on the player, I'm going to add a script machine. That's what lets the visual scripting work on here. There it is. It's asking for a graph. I'm going to get myself organized here, and I'm going to make a script graphs folder. And then I can right click here and create a script graph under visual scripting. There's my script graph, and I'm going to call this player movement. Okay, let's go back to the player and let's add this graph to the script machine. I'm just going to say this is the player movement. And if you like to add a summary, let's go ahead and say that this allows the player to move left and right and jump. Okay, something that I've learned about visual scripting is that there are two different ways that we can edit this. I can edit it by double-clicking this right here, or I can edit it by clicking here. Now what we want to do is we want to edit by clicking on the script machine, and what that's going to do is we're going to edit it while it's attached to the player. This is going to let us use object variables. So let's go ahead and edit that graph. I'll change that later. Okay, here's my script graph. This is not nearly enough room. I'm going to full screen this because we're going to need a lot of room in order to write this script. Okay, so first thing, I want to make changes to my player every frame. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to events. And actually, never mind. I don't want to do that. Let's just search for it. What we want to look for is update. On update, this is our starting point. This is going to run every single frame. So depending on your machine, that's going to be different from computer to computer. High-end machines are running about 600 frames per second. Industry standard is kind of 30 to 60 frames per second. But depending on your machine, this block right here, this node will start us running every frame. So what we would like to do is we want to see if the user is pressing left or right. So actually, before I go any further, let's create a sticky note right here. And this is horizontal movement. Okay. Now this doesn't do anything to our script, but it does let me organize what's going on here. Okay, so what I want to do is save the value of whether I'm pressing the left arrow or the right arrow, or the A key or the D key if you're using WASD. Let's go ahead and go over here to object variables right here, and we're going to create a new object variable called horizontal input. Horizontal input is going to be a decimal number between -1 and +1, so I do want to change it into a float. That is this blue dot right here. And initially it is going to be 0. And actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and add another variable. Let's call this move speed. And the move speed is going to be how fast we move. So let's go ahead and make that a float as well. That's a decimal number. And for this one, let's go ahead and start it with a starting value of 5. We want to move 5 units per second. Okay, so what we want to do first is we want to check the input to see if the user is pressing left or right. So let's right click here and we'll add a node input get axis. That's this one right here. We're going to get the axis by the axis name, and we are looking for the horizontal axis. Okay, we are going to connect these two arrows right here just to show that on update, we're going to start this block. After we get that value, what we want to do is we want to set the horizontal input variable to that value. So let's go ahead and look for horizontal input, and we want to set the horizontal input. Okay, so we're going to follow that flow right there. After we figure out what the horizontal axis is doing, this block is going to do -1 if we're pressing left, +1 if we're pressing right, or 0 if we're pressing nothing at all. And we are going to say horizontal input is going to get set to that value. So here's the float value right here, and we are going to move that right there. Okay, so now we know what the user is pressing. The next thing that we want to actually do is make the user move. That is done the way we're going to do it in this one through transform translate. That's going to make us to translate is going to be to move the player in a certain direction, a certain amount, and it's kind of like a little baby teleport every frame. So we'll go here, and we're going to move this one around quite a bit, but I'm going to do transform dot translate. Okay, so it's asking, you see we've got a lot of different options here. The one that we're looking for is transform translate, that we're going to give it a translation argument right there. So we are now going to move. And then what we need to add here is how much to move in which direction. So what I want it to do is move vector2 dot right. So we have this node called vector2 get right. And that is basically a vector that is going to be just pointing to the right. So 1, 0, 0. So I can just attach that. And you know what? Let's just see what it's doing right now. I'm going to exit out of here and I'm going to push play. Okay, it zooms right off the screen without me pressing anything. And the reason for that is because I didn't give it any instruction on when to move to the right. So let me get back in there and edit that. What I will do here is let's add a multiply. We want to use the generic math multiply. I want to take this vector2 right and I want to multiply it by the horizontal input. Get horizontal input. Okay, so that means if I'm moving to the left, it'll multiply it by -1. If I'm pressing the right key, it'll multiply it by +1. And if I'm pressing nothing, it'll multiply it by 0, just canceling everything out. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so now I've fallen, I'm not pressing anything. Let's go ahead and press the D key for right. Okay, I'm moving, but I'm moving very, very quickly right now. The reason for that is because I am moving unit per frame as long as I'm pressing the key. So let's adjust that really quickly. We're going to use another multiply, so I can duplicate this multiply by pressing Control D. Now I've got another multiply, and I'm going to multiply that times, let's grab time.delta time. So this is time get delta time. Delta time is the amount of time between frames, so this is going to be a very small decimal number. So what this is going to figure out is right now we're telling it move 1 to the right per frame, and that is going to multiply it times the time between frames, and that's going to shift it to be once per second. So now we can see this is getting a little crowded here, but we should be moving 1 unit per second now instead of 1 unit per frame. Okay, I've fallen, and let's go ahead and push A and D. I'm holding down the D key, I'm holding down the A key. Should also work for the left and right arrows. There we go, moving nicely, if a little slowly. So now we want to get in and start messing with the speed. Let's go back to our graph. We're going to Control D, duplicate this one more time. And now I want to multiply this by the move speed. Get move speed. I'm going to multiply that times the move speed, and I'm going to move this one here. Okay, so now I should be able to push play. And then we can move back and forth at a speed of 5. There we go. It's moving a lot smoother than it was. And then the nice thing is, if that's too fast or too slow, I can go down here and I've got this value right here for my move speed. I can go ahead and say, you know, I wish that was 10. And now if I'm moving a lot faster. And that's looking good. All right, in the next video, we'll go over jumping.